So a little bit of story. I was born and brought up in India. I have had a great life, but I've also raised in a middle class family where I had a lot of beliefs such as money doesn't grow on trees, you will run out, you don't know, big amounts of money were never given, all those limitations and programs that were put on me. I also lost my mom when I was less than 8 years old, so I built a storyline that I'm not worthy of love, I'm not enough. And so I had an amazing, great 10-year-old marriage, but somehow it ended for whatever reasons I still don't understand. And I went through a whole toxic cycle with my ex-husband, and I have an amazing relationship with him. Again, I use the same knowledge, this formula to transform our lives. My kids really are very happy in the way we're thriving now. But so I saw that. I saw some core beliefs from my childhood run like a loop. And I spoke about this on the welcome call. So if you guys haven't seen it, please go back and see it. It's been at the top of the Facebook page. So each one of you at this point, everything speaking about myself, I invite you to start self-inquiry. Do I have my childhood beliefs? Am I playing them on loop? Because this is what happens, once we build them up to the age of 8. So I had some beliefs such as I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, I'm abandoned, nothing lasts, and life is a struggle. And I went on to create a life of struggle from being, well educated, having a corporate job, having a great marriage, 2 homes, 2 cars, international holidays, to really finding myself crying outside a grocery store because I was short of $25. I had to call my ex-husband. My 3 and 6-year-old have found me crying on my kitchen floor. So I've really seen some hard days. And I guess, each one of you have your own story. I mean, I don't guess, I know that. So you would have hardships, you would also have highs, but in those between those circumstances is what we're finding about ourselves. We're finding our loops, our programmings, what we are consistently going on, and then we can obviously identify and change our life, right? So to summarize and share with you guys, I hit rock bottom 3 years back, where I basically was in massive debt. And I was emotionally rock bottom to the point where I didn't know how to live. I didn't want to die, I did not know how to live. And I was really emotionally drained. I was financially drained. And at that point, I was seeing someone, which was again a very toxic relationship, for the fact that it was all twin flame stuff that had come into my life and all of those. And that was also like my third massive spiritual awakening. But at the end of the day, to simplify it, what I realize, our life is basically a mirror principle, and what's everything inside of us will reflect on the outside. So if I don't feel I'm worthy enough of love, I will get the best person, the man or the woman, whatever, and I will sabotage. I will get the best situations. I will create the massive business. I put a lot of money in my business, and I will end up sabotaging it because inside me, I do not feel that I can have this, or I can have a life of wealth, and I can have a life of success, and I can have a life of ease and fun and play and pleasure and all of those things, right? So when I hit rock bottom to the point where I didn't want to live, I came across Tony Robbins, and basically I did UPW, where it was all about mindset. But he asked me one question which changed my life. And that was basically, what are you going to create in the next 3 months? And I was in survival mode. Forget about the money. I didn't want money. I didn't want any of this. All I wanted to do was feel happy. I did not know how to feel happy. I was like so sad, depressed, anxious, and like I just felt like every area of my life had crumbled. I just could not look at myself the way I look at myself today. And so I said, out of nowhere, there was a voice in my head that came out of me and said, $30,000 in 3 months. It made no sense. I'd first of all never seen $30,000, because after my divorce, I was filing a tax of less than 20K per annum. And that was made of Centrelink benefits and child support that I got from my ex-husband. And I was a full-time mom, so I could not run my business the way I want to. None of those things happened. I literally was in survival mode. Anyways, long story short, I decided there was something inside of me that flicked the switch and went like, I can't continue living like this. I had hit a point where I knew nothing about quantum leaping. I knew nothing about consciousness. I knew nothing about that you can literally jump paradigms and go into new timeline. I knew no shit, but I had played with energy for around 15 years. I'd been a healer. I have some 40 certifications under my belt because, when you're on the loop of healing, how many of you can agree? Put in the comments. You just go from certificates to certificates. You want to know more knowledge. You go from seminar to seminar, courses to courses, because you feel there's something wrong within you. So today, whatever we do, the first thing I want you to remember is that you're not going to try to fix yourself. You're going to come in a very powerful place of going like, whatever inside of me I believe about myself is what I'm going to see on the big screen of my life. So here's my opportunity to go wild and play and create, using my imagination, create any identity from the quantum field. Everything exists. You no longer have to be the same Francisco, Allison, Katie. You can become anyone, like literally anyone. So give yourself the permission to play today as we progress, and I share the formula with you guys, right? But yeah, so the long and short of all of this is I basically, from that moment started, I invested in a group coaching program. I did, life coaching certification with Tony Robbins. I did all sorts of things that were feeling aligned at that point. And once I decided, within 1 year of that, I made my first six figures, which I'd never seen the face of. So in between that time, I started learning. Dr. Joe Dispenza came into my life. I started learning about what's quantum, what's consciousness, what timelines are, what reality is. Here's what I want to tell you. And after that, within the last 3 years, I've had some incredible success. I am close to becoming a millionaire. Again, they're just numbers. What I want you to remember, or me writing a book, or me looking at the way I do, or me healing my anxiety and depression, which was on loop, or me manifesting clients all over the world, or me, having my beautiful home or my car, none of these matter. What I finally realized, what I could look at myself in the mirror every day and go like, I can do anything. It's the self-actualization. And each one of us can do that, right? It's basically understanding that, the power lies in our identity. How do we look at ourselves? So I'm going to simplify this. What I want you to know is your results could be faster than mine. And a lot of clients blow my mind because I've never had six figures in a month. I haven't. I could, but I haven't had, because again, one of my clients, and she's going to come and talk to you guys about it. We'll organize her to come and meet you guys. It is not about the results. It's like, how much energy of the new identity can you hold? I can't hold that right now. Somebody can. So what you can hold for yourself is the point. It is never about the money. It's never about what you are chasing. Whatever your goal is, I want you to know, stop, like, don't even worry about it. And you'll be like, what sort of training is this? Because I want to give you something which is not in the mainstream, and that's why people struggle for years. It's not about the goal. It is about generating an identity who has the energy, who has the state of consciousness that they're operating in that identity. So just to give you a very small example, like say when I started my business, okay, and I didn't know this for a little while, and I was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to create? I would spend 10, 12 hours sitting and trying to do stuff. It was exhausting. I was in so much masculine energy. And when I learned about the quantum stuff, very fairly quickly, I went from, I used to be a healer who used to charge $80 for a session. And then I made a package, and I wanted to sell somebody to just buy my $3,000 package, $2,999. And then I remember I had success with the first client, and then I went on to create a $5,000 package. Within less than 7 days, I sold another one. But where the magic began to happen for me was in understanding the quantumness of everything, okay? And I'm going to give you a formula today, which does not matter whether you want to change your body shape, or you want to manifest money, or you want to manifest success, you are here. Write in the chat. Let me know. I'm going to look at it right now. What are you guys here for? I know a lot of you guys shared. So I can also, change and alter the way I'm teaching in relation to whatever you guys are trying to manifest. But pretty much the formula is the same. Whether it's your body, whether I've had people come and want to manifest specific people. They wanted rings, proposals, they wanted salary raises, they wanted, a couple of my people have had babies, they've had miscarriages and IVFs, and so they've used the same formula. My clients have had homes, businesses, clients, money, clients out of nowhere, unexpected money. So I really want to know, what are you guys here for? When I started my journey, obviously it was initially about money. Then it became about, oh, what else can I create? Then I wanted to write a book. Then I wanted to become an author. Then I wanted to start a podcast. Then I wanted to just be like, is anybody going to listen to me? So I'm just like one of you guys. I had to create all this so for people to come in my world, listen to me, and then on top of that, pay me, because people get results, just doing the same stuff. So let's see what you guys are writing. Can everybody hear me as I talk? Is the audio good? Just show me a thumbs up so I know. Perfect. Okay. Money and success. Okay. Here's another thing. As I give you the formula, I want you guys to get very clear. Once I share what I'm going to share with you today, and I've gone on a bit of tangent, but that's okay. I want you guys to start getting very specific, because money means nothing, like it's a frequency, it's an energy, but at the end of the day, $1 is money and $100,000 is money. So what does money mean to you? Because a dollar has a frequency and $100,000 have a frequency. A million has a frequency. So it's really important that we understand, what frequency are we wanting to be on? What identity? Because a woman so say first, when I manifested six figures, the things before I manifested that, I used to say different things to myself. I hope I can do this. I wish. I don't know how it feels to have 100K. I've never had that. And things like that. Versus once I did it, my self-talk it was so easy to do it. Like literally getting 10K clients, 5K clients, it was so easy. I don't know how fast did it happen. It feels so good. Six figures is just a frequency. Like there are different things you say to yourself. So it's really important you understand as we do this identity work today. Francisco says, get into Y Combinator. I'm applying tomorrow, and they will give my company a response by 2012. That is very exciting. So I'm going to specifically also use the example and give you some identity affirmations that you can use. This is so exciting. 100K this month. Great. So this is the energy. This is where we go. Also, I did one of my coaching calls with one of my private clients. It's on my YouTube. If you guys want to see like how to have 100K months, I coached her, and there was some identity work we did. You can go and watch that YouTube. It's on my channel. Ashley says 10K months net revenue in my new business. Exciting stuff. Okay. Let's take a breath and anchor in and talk about how to get you guys to do this. Because I bet you don't care about freaking formula. You want to care, you care about results. But I want to give you a pathway to create these results faster for you, right? So there is a 4-step formula that I was able to create after I had learned all this stuff, and I started applying, and random stuff started happening, but I still didn't have formula. For the last 2.5 years, I've not had a formula. I've learned stuff, I've applied, and I'm very honest with you guys. I'm very honest with all my private clients who have done this work. We only created this formula once we knew that, oh, these main things are working for everybody. Let's extract that and let's get your formula that's going to help you quantum leap faster. The first thing to remember is each one of you know that you're here to quantum leap. So I don't need to tell you that we live in a quantum world. Quantum means everything's energy. There is no time. There is no man-made calendar. It does not mean that what that you can have something in 2024, 2026, you can have something in 30 days. Time is a man-made concept. So I hope you guys are clear on it. If you aren't, there is a masterclass on my YouTube which talks about collapse time. It's an hour-long masterclass. If you ever want to learn about changing time and collapsing time, that's the first thing I learned. So you understand you don't have to wait 6 months to be able to become the identity who makes 10K a month. You don't. It's an energy, it's a consciousness, it's an identity, it's a self-concept. It's really about getting into that energy so you can do this as quickly as possible as you understand that time is a man-made concept. You can literally wake up tomorrow and be in the energy of I freaking did it, like 10K months are easy, or the fact that it was always meant to be mine, I just got what I wanted, right? So it is an energy, it's a consciousness. I want you to remember that. Also, that in the quantum field, infinite possibilities exist. What does that mean? Because when I heard this stuff initially, I was like, what? Like, it was all new stuff for me. Like, I don't know, you guys, how long have you been playing with this? But like, it was all new stuff for me. I didn't understand parallel realities or, timelines or consciousness. Yes, I did, but not to the extent that, oh, you can use your consciousness to wake up tomorrow morning and have the thing, that you've been calling in. There is, in this quantum realm, all versions of you exist. Before I give you the step number 1 of this formula today, I really need you to understand this because I can't take you to the university if we haven't done the primary kindergarten stuff, right? And it's really important that we lay a foundation. So in this quantum realm, all versions of you exist. Like there was a version of me who was a single mom, anxious, crying, depressed, didn't know how to make money, financially stressed, did not have this level of self-concept, all of those things. There's also a version of me who was in 100K debt. There was a version of me who didn't have the things I have today. There's a version of me who's actually currently a multimillionaire. I just need to know how to tap into her, and I am through the path. There is a version of you, there's a version of Francisco, Allison, Katie, who's gotten the thing they want. There's a version of you who's a successful, like there was a version of me who was a successful author. That's why that desire came through me out of nowhere. I never wanted to be an author. Like, what? If somebody told me this, I would not believe that. So there are parallel versions of you right now. Whatever you want, it's not vague. It is not rando. It is not just like, oh, one day I decided. First, you got to know that, honor your desire, because it's God consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever you believe in, source consciousness, the fact that is this subconscious mind, which is related to the whole quantum field, is showing you there is a version of you right now that's living this. That's why you are so much feeling it. It's a feeling path to quantum jumping and quantum leaping. It's not a logical path. Okay, it's not an analytical path. It's a feeling path. So you got to feel your desires. You got to honor your desires and stop negotiating with it. Like I cannot tell you how long I went on the path of, I don't know how is it going to be to become wealthy. I don't know. How is it going to be to actually have 30K clients? Will somebody pay me? I don't even know. Maybe I should just play small, just do this work, like we start negotiating with ourselves because we don't know how big we can get, let alone we can suddenly become big. It's too much, right? Suddenly bad shit can happen to us, but suddenly good shit can't happen to us. How many of you agree that bad shit has happened to you and somehow we prepared ourselves to go like, bad shit can happen and no, we don't want it, but it has happened. And somehow we allow ourselves that bad shit can happen, but there is no room for suddenly good shit to happen in our life. We can't even allow in our head, so how the hell will it happen? Because somehow we're not giving ourselves permission to receive it suddenly, right? I want to just see, okay, Katie says, my SP to be ready to choose and commit to me. So many obstacles in the world. We'll clear that. Absolutely. Talk about having obstacles in love life. I have dealt with that. I know how it is. So we changed the self-concept. We're going to talk about this self-property with X, have abundance, joy, secure love, abundance of time with SP, financial freedom. independence, car, selling my art, express. You're an artist. That excites me even more, because we're all artists. Just so you know, we're creating our own reality. So today I'm literally going to push you on the edge and tell you, I'm going to throw you in a playground and say, play, create your new identity. So be prepared. And if you want to leave this call, do, because you're going to do some work. I'm going to ruffle feathers, and you are not here to just do some vague ass work or sit here for an hour. You're literally here to quantum leap, right? Show me those faces that you are ready here, really, really ready, because you are going to, right? And express, not work for income. Great. Okay. So now that you know all versions exist, you've got to give yourself permission. The most thing you're feeling, all these things that you're feeling that you've written there is a version of you currently in the quantum realm living it. That's why you want it. Okay? You don't want to go to China and become an author or go to a village. People do this. You don't want to go to Bali and start a meditation center. Why is it that you don't want? That's not a version of you living it. There is, but you're not feeling it because it's not speaking to you right now. What you want is speaking to you right now because there's a version of you very close to you energetically. So it's about you plugging into that consciousness, okay? Step number one in the 4 steps to quantum leap, step number one is, I'm going to get people in, hang on. Okay. So there are 4 steps in order for you to quantum jump that are the fastest. Step number 1, identity creation. Now, before step number 1 is what? Know what you want. So we said all your desires are God speaking through you, source speaking through you, higher power, whatever you believe in is what you want. So you got to honor it. You got to know what you want. So whether it's a good body, it's a desired body, whether it's a 10K month, 100K month, whether it's selling your business, whether it is, getting into something, whether it is getting your ex to change or getting your SP to propose to you. So you want your ring or whatever it is, you want success, you want your new business to thrive and have 10K plus months or whatever. These are all your desires. So you're going to use the same formula. So know what you want, very clear on it. Okay. Step number 1 is to create an identity. Step number 2 is to do the work, which is match your beliefs, your self-talk, your autopilot to the desired outcome. Step number 3 is to use the observer effect every day. Step number 4 is to regulate your nervous system to that timeline or that identity. Okay, I'm going to say this again, write it down. We're only going to address step number 1 today because this week when we have our second call, I want you to take the next 24 to 48 hours to create an identity because that's the most important part. If you want to jump and suddenly get results, you have to be very clear on who you have to become and generate that identity, right? Are you guys with me? Yeah. Because without knowing who we want to become, as in like generating the energy, we're not generating the identity, we're generating the consciousness, the self-concept, the autopilot talk, the self-narrative, the identification of self, like who are you? Because right now, say, for example, there's a version of you, the way you talk to yourself, the way you do things is different than who you were last year, right? So you're in a different consciousness than when you were. It's really important that now we want to get into the consciousness of the identity you want to become. So that's step number 1. So let's talk about identity creation. Identity. For a moment, I want you guys to write in the comments below, what do you think identity is? And why is it so important? Why are we talking about identity? Whether you want to have 10K months, 100K months, whether you want to get into something, you want to become a successful artist, you want to make money on autopilot so your art sells, you want that ring, you want a great marriage. Why is identity so important? I love to know, like brainstorm a little bit, like write in comments, what do you think it is? Okay. The sense, feeling of being. Katie says that, yes. So, what I've come to learn in the last 2.5 years, not so much for 3 years, 2.5 years, where I really started seeing results from being in debt, to suddenly having a $17,000 day. It made no sense. To this year again in May, I had an $18,000 day. I just did a birthday sale. There was something going on, out of nowhere, having things, synchronicities happen to me. What I learned about identity was that identity means identification of self. Okay. Your identity is your identification of self. It's like, okay, how do you identify? So now look at your desire. I want you to look at it. What is your desire? How do you identify? Say you want to be 10 kgs lighter, for example. How do you identify with your body? You want 10K months. How do you identify with money? You want 100K months. You want to have a six-figure business. How do you identify with money? How do you identify with success? How do you identify with business? Like, this is a big one. How do you identify with success? How I identify with success right now versus how I identified with success a year back, or let alone 3 years back when I was rock bottom, was completely different. Identity is your identification of self, your concept, your story of your own self. If you get this, you will understand that the man outside of you is not in charge. The boss is not in charge. The person who has to invest in your money is not in charge. The person who has to make the decision about anything is not in charge. The people you want to come and buy from you are not in charge. The husband or the wife is not in charge. The SP is not in charge. Nothing. There is a story. There is a story we have about ourselves based on the life we've lived. That story is our identity in relation to. So, for example, in relation to relationships, my story was, I'm not worthy. Everybody who loves me leaves because my mother left, passed away. So, whatever is your experience. So, I'm giving an example. So, then, of course, my marriage had to break. Same happened with my friendships. Every time, like I would have great friendships, people would just leave. Don't understand why. Because inside, I have an identity. I'm not worthy enough to be loved. Then I had a great relationship. Then I was again abandoned, And so, till I actually understood this and went on to create a safe relationship. What is your storyline? I want you to look at your desire. So, for example, we'll look at one, okay? We'll look at Katie's for now. And sorry, who was the one who said 10K? All right, so I'm going to look at Ashley's, for example, okay? So, Ashley wants 10K months in business, or plus, that's fine. There is an identity right now. Say, I will also use my example. This is a great example because the first thing I wanted to do when I said, Tony Robbins said what? And I said 30K in 3 months, and never had I seen the face of 30K in 3 months. There is an identity I had before this who believed my identification with myself was, it is hard to make $10,000 a month. I don't know how to. So these are my identification with money. I don't know how to make it. I have to work really, really hard. My concept of self, my story is that I don't know how to make 10K. It's really hard. I don't know how other people make. That was the one thing I found myself saying all the time. I don't know how other people do it. How many times do you guys say this to yourself? I don't know how other people do it. That we got to delete it. Because every time I say I don't know how other people do it, I'm impressing upon my subconscious, the main master program operator. Other people can do it. I don't know. I have no freaking clue how to do it. You guys understand what I'm saying? And our subconscious is literally like our operating system, right? So if I found myself saying all the time, I don't know how the people do it. I don't know how to create 10K months. So And it took me a little while to understand that, right? So then you'd ask me, how do we change it? But the first thing is to understand step number one. Today, we're not going to talk about any other steps. I need you to get very clear on identification of self. How are you identifying with? So, okay, let me reframe this. How do you currently see yourself in relation to your desired reality or time? So I want you to first tell me what your goal is, write it down or write it on a piece of paper right now. So the goal is say 10K months. Okay. For everyone, it's different. We're taking one example. How do I see myself in relation to 10K months is the first thing. That's the timeline I'm in. If I want to quantum leap and I want to suddenly in 1 week's time have 10K months, it's possible. First of all, I want you to know that because I had it in less than it was less than 3 weeks or something once I started doing this thing, right? Applying it. Like it's that fast. I want you guys to know. But you got to be sincere and you got to be in the energy of it and really do the work. How do I see myself in relation to the goal? And this is where you start really writing down now. That's why I said to you guys, brain dump. How do I think right now? What am I currently thinking about 10K? I don't know how to make it. Write it down. I think it's hard. I don't know how to make it. I don't know how other people do it. Like all these people I'm seeing on the internet. So I'm telling myself that I don't know how to make it. Other people know it. So when I look at my concept of self right now, how do I act? Do I act like the woman who is making 10K months? Do I think like the woman who's making 10K months? And do I behave speak like the woman who makes 10K months? Now let's break this down more. Concept of self. My concept of self right now is, so let's go back to the point where actually when I wasn't having 10K months, when I wasn't a six-figure entrepreneur, right? I was doing $80 healing sessions. So how could I? And I talk about generating that identity also in on my YouTube. I took a client through a private session. You're welcome to see that and go deeper into it. My concept of self, how do I think like it versus now that I've done it, easy. Well, 10K is easy. Let's create more. 10K days are good. They're two different thoughts. So in order for me to quantum jump, I have to think like the person who's done it. This is where most people get stuck because they're like, but I haven't done it. How can I think like this? No. Whose permission are you waiting for? I need to remind you guys here that everything is an identity, is a consciousness game. You're here to play with your imagination. And if you stay in the energy of it enough number of times, that means if you think like that identity, you speak like that identity, you're in the energy of it, which Dr. Joe Dispenza says consciousness. If you are operating in the state of consciousness of your new identity who's making 10K months, it'll be days within that something happens and you get that, whether it's through your business or I've had clients have unexpected money. They're like, I don't know, I don't have a source of business, but I truly believe I'm going to have this. So, well, okay, start speaking like that. So to give you an example, somebody who has 10K months or wants it and is really wanting to quantum jump, they're in the energy of it. Their identification of self is, even if you are going, or your old self's going to come and challenge you, like, but you don't know how it's going to happen. Where are the clients, right? Because that's what I would say to myself, like, who's going to pay you this? There is a different sort of speaking, even though you haven't seen the evidence, but you're doing this work now every day. You're changing your daily talk, the way you're speaking to yourself, to your friends, to your mother, to your sister, to your boyfriend, to your husband, I don't know, whoever you're speaking to. I am feeling so good every day. Like I'm in the energy of it. Good things are happening. I feel like a freaking magnet because I know people are coming, situations are coming, circumstances are being pulled. Like, are you speaking like that? Or you're like, I'm actually signing up courses because I want to manifest 10K. No, we're not going to quantum leap if we keep telling ourselves, I'm trying to manifest 10K. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So we got to like see where we have 10K and we're going to start operating from that identity. Francisco says, no problem could be even ever solved by the same level of consciousness it is created from. Right. Einstein said that. You're so right. Absolutely. So we got to plug into a new level of consciousness, right? And referred by Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Absolutely. That book changed my life, just so you know. I think I didn't even listen. I listened hours and hours I spent on it, but that just one that book alone and The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Just the book Breaking the Habit of Being You changed my life. And then, of course, Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks. And then till I started playing and doing random stuff. And then people are manifesting. We're like, okay, which technique worked? And that's how I created this 4-step formula, right? Before that, it was all random stuff. But when things were working, we're like, okay, well, this thing is working. Okay. So here's what I want to tell you. I want you to first identify, I made some notes, identify. Okay, so also, like, say you want to become more abundant, say you're struggling with money or you're not struggling, but you want to have 10K months, say you make 5K months or you make 2K months or whatever, like identify your most abundant version. Identify your most abundant version. How would I be looking at my reality every day? So I really want to break this down for you. How would I be looking at my reality every day? So for example, I would walk past the homes and instead of saying, I don't know how these people have such expensive homes, because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford, at that point, my $500,000 home or whatever. Like, I'm just thinking, if I thought to myself, I can't have it, I would never have it because I'm training my subconscious to believe I can't have it. So, how would I every day plug into the identity of my most abundant version? You see the person driving an expensive car or a good car. I don't like the word expensive. One word you should delete from your vocabulary: expensive. Every time you use the word expensive, you're telling your subconscious, I can't afford it. Like, that was the first thing I learned ever. And I was like, okay, well, I say it all the time. Let me delete this. Today, sit down, write whatever you believe right now about your identity in relation to your goal. Allison, write down and put in the comments if you'd like to. What do you believe about this 10K months? Like, be real honest. This is the work, right? Sit down, write on a piece of paper. What are your actual thoughts, right? Because what's going to happen is if you sit down and you brain dump and you go like, well, I want it and I'm really showing up and I'm manifesting this, I'm going to be like, bro, like, stop right now. This is not how we're going to quantum leap, right? How? Because there's a version of Allison who's actually had it in the next 7 days. Okay, first of all, your energy is really different. Like, literally, I swear to God, everything's energy. If you guys understand this, you will wake up in the morning and you're not going to have a freaking sorry face for yourself, because that's how I used to wake up every day. I used to wake up like a victim, like some shit, God's after me, and I get it. I'm a mom. My kids, my son has asthma. I would wake up in the night and like you don't get sleep and shit happens and there are bills and like there are 100 stories we can tell ourselves. But a version of us who's made $10,000 in 7 days or one day, you'd be jumping out of the freaking bed, going to make coffee and like thanking God, source, universe 10 times. So we've got to plug into that energy. Again, you'll be like, well, she's rude. I am not rude. I've had people say that to my face. Can you be a little kinder and calmer? No, I'm not going to be. You came here, so I'm going to shake you up and tell you, stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's the first thing I had to do. I literally have to be in the energy of the woman who goes like, shit, man, I don't even know how this happened. Like, I can't even believe good things are happening for me. Like, I don't know how it happens, but it happens. Like, out of nowhere, I finally got my specific person. 3 years, I didn't fold like a cheap folding chair. I don't even know how this client came and wanted to pay me $29,000. So there's this first client who I ever worked with. who started working with me at $5,000. So this is my second initial client, from going from a person who used to charge $80 a session. I had to do all of this work to go to get that client. And then what happened? This is about energy. It's about embodiment. It's about, like, out of nowhere, this person came to me. She said, I was in this group of yours and I want to work with you. I didn't do any sales call. I didn't do anything. So is that identity of you, Allison, going like, you know what, I'm just going to sell. Like, I don't know what your business is, whatever it is. You're welcome to share. There are things you're going to tell yourself. So when I started, we were told, I don't know how many of you have service-based businesses, but coaches or people, who are in this education-based industry or mentors, you're told, get on a sales call, convince people, give them 30 reasons why their life will suck if they don't work with you. And there was something so icky about it. I did it for the first 2 or 3 sales calls. I was like, I'm never going to do a sales call. And I sat down and I created an identity of a woman who just gets messages. People DM me. That's your concept of self. It's that simple. Start speaking them now, right? So once you've done this, you've written exactly what you believe about yourself in relation to your goal. There are 5 things you need to do from now on if you want a quantum leap and you want to be in the energy of your new identity. That's the first step, right? That we're going to do. And till the next call, I want you to get so clear on it that you are completely deleting the autopilot of your old version. There is no room for it. It's a consciousness. It's an energy wave. It's an energy. It's a skin that you put on every morning when you wake up. So from tomorrow, you're not going to choose the skin. You wake up, you're going to choose a new set of clothes, like new set of skin, and you're going to become the Allison who makes 10K, and you're going to be the Francisco who's like, things just freaking happen for me all the time. I'm starting to blow my own mind. Maybe I should start teaching people about it. I've had so much evidence. I don't know what you say to yourself, but you're going to say new things to yourself, right? So, number one, once you made the list, your step number one to embody the energy of this is daily talk. Every day, morning, when you wake up, from the moment you wake up open your eyes, you are going to identify with yourself from the place of you've already achieved this. Not as I wake up and I go like, well, it'll be nice if I have 10K month this month. That's the old identity. So when I wake up, my first concept of self is when I wake up, like I usually just hug myself and I say, I love you. Like that's the first thing I do now, which I never did. That's why I love life. Like I was so sad and depressed and I used to feel sorry for myself the moment I would wake my eyes, like open my eyes, right? So whatever way you want to live, like I wanted to create a life where I'm just like in awe of my own being. Maybe you want to do something else. What's true to you, right? Because no one's coming to make us feel really super good unless we feel good about ourselves, right? So once you've done that, daily talk. Step number one, you're going to do this 3-4 times, if not at least 4-5 times, at least 3 times through the day. Start saying the things you're going to say. Like I said to you, I can do anything. What's going to happen when you have the 10K at the end of the month? What are you going to say to yourself? I can do anything. You're going to get the SP back. You'll be like, freaking hell, I can manifest anything. So we start saying it over and over and over again, right? And you're going to do this at least 5 times, if not at least 3 times, because what we're trying to do is we are going on the process of collapsing the autopilot of your old identity, who believe it's hard for me, I don't know how to make 10K, versus it was that easy. I love the energy of being in 10K months. Well, let's make it 20K now. Like you got to think really big thoughts, and that's where you're going to be challenged as well, right? Step number 2, you're going to meditate, whether it's 2 minutes in the bed or you got to jump out. I don't really care so much. When I say I don't care, it's really how much permission you're going to give yourself, because it takes 30 seconds to close your eyes, drop into the energy of your new identity. And when we meditate, the idea why I realize, because I'm not big on meditation, like I'm not. I did it for years, but here's what I always spend 2-3 minutes on it. It's to release the resistance to your new identity. Because the moment you close your eyes and you're in this like fuzzy feeling, especially when you've woken up, your brain is still in theta states. Please understand why we're doing it when we've just woken up, because your conscious mind is completely shut off. Your subconscious mind is very impressionable. So whatever instructions you're going to give to your subconscious mind, and it's all a game of your subconscious mind, because that's where your identity lies, right? Your beliefs. So the moment you wake up, close your eyes and meditate, which means what's your desired outcome? Like, see yourself living that life. Wake up like it feels incredible to have 10K months. It feels incredible to become the person who can do anything. It feels incredible to have this, to have my loving person next to me, whatever it is. In that, what's going to happen? A, you will impress upon your subconscious your new identity. B, you are going to release resistance to your new identity. And as I said, quantum leaping is an energetic game. It's an emotional, it's a feeling game. It's not a logical game, right? So you got to be in the energy of it. Step number 3 is through the day, you're going to give thanks multiple times. It's a very cliche one. It's a very old one. Give gratitude and your life will change. But we are going to use it to our benefit. What would actually happen when you have 10K month, Allison? You'll be jumping. You'll be like giving thanks. You'll be like, thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Whatever you believe in, right? Who's stopping you from giving that now? Because we have to be in the consciousness, think, feel, and act like that person all the time. Like when I'll tell you one of my secrets. I started doing this was like 2 years back, right? Like that's how when I manifested the 17K day or 18K day or things, I would get a champagne and I would get like a really nice one, like a Verve Click or something, or like, so I'll put $80, $90 or $100. I'll put the champagne in the fridge and I'll just like be like, I can't wait to open this. It's so exciting. Like, I'm just in the energy of it. I don't even know where this client is going to come from, right? But I don't need anybody's permission to feel freaking excited about the energy I want to be in, because that's how I manifest. So the real question would be, whose permission are we waiting for? Are we going to prove to ourselves we're too stupid? Go to the edge, see what happens, because you're not stupid. I wasn't stupid. So start doing that, right? So you're going to give thanks multiple times. Step number 4 for identity creation. At nighttime, you're going to reprogram yourself. How are you going to reprogram yourself? I'll look at your messages in a moment, guys. Okay, somebody's saying, oh, okay, Katie's saying step 1, step 2 missed. Okay, step number 1 is basically your daily talk. So from the moment you wake up, you're going to decide to put a new skin on your daily talk through the day. You're going past a beautiful home. What are you going to say? I can have this, You're going through the day, you're having your coffee. I cannot believe my life has just turned overnight. Suddenly, everything has turned in a good way. I can't believe this shit, this formula, this person. I just don't know what happened, but I got the 10K month. I can't believe that, Mark, say your SP's name is Mark. Mark's just come back and like, he wants to propose to me. Like, whatever it is, your self-talk is very important, right? So from the moment you wake up, you're going to have the self-talk, and you're going to do this multiple times through the day based on your concept of self. Whatever you are wanting, you have to think, speak, talk like that person. If you cannot do it 5, 6 times, like literally, the more crazy you go, the faster results will be. Like literally become crazy about it. Be obsessed with it. People say don't be obsessed. I say actually be, but be obsessed not from a place of I wish this happens. That's why people don't quantum leap, because obsession means you are doing brick by brick hard work. No, in the quantum realm, from the mind and literally being in the energy of it, we can collapse time, and that's how we quantum leap. That's out of nowhere a client will come and give you $10,000. That's out of nowhere you will get a yes. That's out of nowhere that car will come. That's out of nowhere that home will come. That's out of nowhere your assets will go up $100,000. That's what happened to me. It's about, it will not make sense. That is quantum leaping, because quantum leaping is not about making sense. It's illogical. It's energy waves. You're just going from point A to point Z without going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's what we're not wanting to do, right? So you wake up multiple times, you start talking, your daily talk must change, and your daily talk should be from the identity of the person who's had whatever you want. Step number 2, you got to meditate. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you want to spend half an hour, even better, whatever works for you. I'm not the kind of person who can sit for 30 minutes. I just aren't. I also know of people who spend 1 hour and have had like 6-figure days. If you can do that, if your nervous system's there, do that. But literally, I can't. But if you can, but choose, start with 2 minutes at least. Meditate and release the resistance to your new identity is the idea, right? Step number 3, give thanks all through the day, multiple times. Find yourself going like, what are you going to go do? Like, say you get the Yes Francisco, you get the 10K months. Katie, he's back. You've sold the house, you've got the best deal. You got to think from the version. You got to go around telling your girlfriend, my house sold it for like, I don't know, 500,000, a million, or 200,000, whatever's the value. Double it in your head and start going into that identity. What are you going to do? How are you guys going to celebrate? Brittany, what are you calling in? Like, what are you guys going to do? So for me, it was simple. Like I didn't have big celebration. I just knew that I love champagne and I'm going to sit down and open a bottle of champagne, whether it was with my kids, because I didn't have a partner back then. But I would do that. And then I give thanks, basically start doing it. If you know that you're going to go on a trip, start looking at the location because this shit is happening. We're not waiting. If you're going to go take your mom and your sister out for a dinner because you made 10K months, look at the restaurant. Get excited about it. How much money are you going to spend? $500 in a dinner, right? Your mind's going to, your nervous system will be triggered. That's another thing I'm going to talk about because your nervous system's like freak you. You're a crazy person. This is on unreal. So let's talk about that for a second because the most people drop the energy when your nervous system gets triggered and it's all too much. We'll back off and we will not believe in this, right? Step number 4 is nighttime reprogramming. So this is something that changed the game for me. As I said, your subconscious brain is most impressionable in the morning because it's in theta waves, and at nighttime because your conscious mind is quiet, your subconscious can be impressed upon with anything. So at nighttime, what I started doing was putting reprogramming. So my favorite one is Jess Rising. You can listen to her. I will also drop a link in the group. I've made audios for my private clients. I'm thinking of making one meditation for you guys, just depending on the time. If I have next week, I will create meditation for you. You guys can listen. But these are the ones I used when there were none other than on my own journey, and I've had massive success with it. Why I want you to reprogram at night. When you sleep at night, you're going to put these tracks. Your subconscious will start taking the energy of your new identity. A lot of you already probably know this stuff, but it's like, are you doing it from a place of like, no, this is happening. So reprogram yourself at night, listen to whatever you want to, whatever reprogramming audios, and I'll also suggest a few to you. 5, listen to so once you've meditated every morning, what's going to start happening is the nudges, the intuition, the impulses will speak. This is how you're going to get what you want. This is how you're going to quantum leap. So it's not going to happen brick by brick, action by action. It's going to happen by collapsing it all in your head, which means that if every morning I meditate for 2 minutes and I release the resistance to my new identity, who is the successful author or who has, a sports car standing outside. There were things, how I manifested is the same way, right? Or whatever I'm next manifesting. I meditate and then I get these nudges, which are coming from your subconscious, your higher mind. For example, I told you about this morning, go get coffee, get a croissant and dip it in the coffee. My logical brain will be like, I don't want to. My head goes like, I don't enjoy them. I know a lot of people do. I just feel like it's just fat and butter and it just really is not good for me. Like I have all these storylines, right? But I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I sat and I enjoyed. Now, what happened? I collapsed my whole identity. In the act of doing this today, at some random point, I'm going to get some thought that's going to change the trajectory of my life because I fully believe, I have conviction that every impulse leads me to my higher timeline. So can you. So, to give you examples of this, I would get nudges of get up and go to Gold Coast. This was in the middle of the year. I had just come back from Dubai after traveling, and it made no sense. I'd spent a lot of money in traveling, and I came back and was like, no, go to Gold Coast. And I listened to their nudge. And then every morning it was like, go to the beach. All I wanted to go was sleep. No, no, get up 5 a.m., go to the beach. I would. 3 days I did this. Fourth day I got a download. Put this sale up. I made 2 days later, I made $18,000 in my business. None of this is going to make sense. But I listened to every nudge, which is basically your higher mind connected to the quantum realm, which is telling you not A, not B, not C, not D. Boom. Take this step, you go to Z. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So listening to your impulse, honoring yourself, honoring your higher mind, honoring your subconscious mind or God, Christ consciousness or source consciousness, whatever you want to call it. You are so powerful. I'm not here to teach you anything other than the fact that if you truly believe, all versions of you exist. 7 days from now, you could be jumping in, coming here on this live and saying, I want to share my story because you guys will. Right? You will, if you believe, if you actually have the conviction and you go like, I am seeing this desire because there's a version of me already living it. And, fine, she's given me the formula, but ultimately it's in my hands. I'm going to embody the energy. I'm going to wake up every morning like the freaking person who actually has done it. And I don't have to feel sorry for myself anymore. Because there's a big piece of the puzzle that I didn't share with you, or maybe I have, but I want to share this again. Like I had all this knowledge initially when I didn't get the results was because I was so attuned to my old identity, who was so attuned to struggle and lack. So falling back into it, which meant what? That I was so busy feeling sorry for myself and I was thinking thoughts of lack. I don't have this. I don't have as many clients. I don't have as many money. I don't have the man who loves. Even if there was, he's not showing up in this energy. We tend to focus so much on the lack. What we focus on, we're in the energy of, and that's how we're going to attract. You guys know that. I'm not even going to law of attraction. Basically, the mirror principle that I talked about. So inside, if I focus on lack, outside, I will get freaking evidence of it. So the bigger piece for me, the missing piece was after all this information was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get out of the autopilot or pilot of being sorry. So the autopilot was struggle, hardship, not having with ease, not having miracle days, not having mind blowing results. And now my autopilot is simply like I literally attune myself every day. Rando shit happens to me, good shit happens to me. Like out of nowhere, suddenly, is suddenly a word that you relate your self concept of sudden is something bad happened. That's the first thing I asked you guys, remember? When I say suddenly, what do you think? Because we think like suddenly bad happened. Suddenly he broke up with me. Suddenly, I lost all my money. Suddenly, my life started crumbling. But can we think about suddenly, out of nowhere, I got the client. Suddenly, I got a 10K month. Suddenly, Mark came back and proposed to me. Suddenly, I got a yes. Suddenly, I got the deal on the house. Suddenly, my book became a best-selling. Suddenly, my podcast just blew up. Suddenly, my business, I just went viral. Suddenly, good shit started happening. Suddenly is again a frequency, as I always say, suddenly is something you can tap into right now. So as we come towards the end of this call, I want to ask you guys, after everything I've shared, who here feels I don't need any mother freaking permission from anyone to jump into it right now, or there's a part of you still waiting for some sort of freaking permission? because that's where the game's going to change for each one of us. Who's seeking permission and who's going like, I am going to play this differently. Thank you for the formula. See you. Sayonara. I don't even need you anymore. I've got this. Yes. So Katie says, do this before it happens or think about it until it happens. Okay. Do this before it happens or think about it until it happens. All right. So this is another thing, very important thing, which I'm going to teach you next week, which is how to use the observer effect. I've had people learn manifestation for 10 years. I've had people come do religiously work, what I'm teaching, or other people they were doing, and then they come and say, I don't know what's happening, but my manifestation is not there. I have done everything. I have worked with so many people. Okay. And then I tell them about the observer effect, which means what? You can do all the things, but if there's an aspect of your identity observing, it's not there yet, where is it? You are observing the lack of it. It's not going to show up because observer effect means that whatever we observe, the molecules in the quantum field shape up as that client, as that yes, as the keys of the house, as the man, as the ring, as the woman. So if I'm observing the lack of it, that it's not here yet, that's the part where most people get stuck. Okay. So when you say, Katie, that we keep believing until it happens, there is no waiting. The person who's quantum leaped is in the consciousness of yes, and you're so busy being in the energy of it that you're not looking for it. So this needs a level of conviction. This also needs a level of nervous system regulation. So what's going to happen is, like I'm talking about, like when I was really struggling, and every time my daughter went out to get bills, I would start getting panic attacks because I didn't have enough money. Okay. So when the bill would come, it was really important for me to regulate. So I would do tapping, I would do other things, in the nervous system regulation module, I will teach you. Or the fact when, my twin flame would keep breaking up with me, I would just be devastated. So say you guys have SPs and you see them with someone else, you are actually literally inside, having a panic attack, or you are having anxiety, or you are having the opposite evidence of what you want, your nervous system is going to drop and it's going to be like, this is not real. So this is really important that you guys regulate your nervous system when the triggers are coming to you. Okay, this is really important. And also, like, know how to regulate it, which I'm going to talk about in depth, but you can definitely start doing EFT, etc. A regulated nervous system is magic for manifestations. Like, I kid you not, if I can't hold, like I shared the example of me making $17,000, right, on one day, on the 1st of December 2021, before I was in debt, and then I had to pay up the lawyers. So even I had money, but I was still programmed to lack. So the money came and went away. And the next month I made $222. Why? Well, because my nervous system wasn't attuned to the identity who generates multi five figures, right? So you can quantum leap, but you're going to fall off if you don't know how to regulate your nervous system, which means consistently your nervous system should be comfortable. Your life right now is, your reality right now is where your nervous system is comfortable with. You're comfortable with lack. You're comfortable with XYZ amount of money. Have you seen that you only have a amount of money in your bank account, or certain types of clients, or your business only grows at a certain level? These are all things, these are your thresholds of nervous system. So same goes for me. in order for us to grow and quantum leap, we have to make sure that we do exercises that our nervous system believes that it's okay for me to actually have Mark or my specific person next to me. It's okay for me to wake up in a safe relationship. It's okay for me to be a wife of a person who is actually loving me, understanding me. It's okay for me to actually have 10K months. Nothing will happen. The other shoe will not drop. Otherwise, my brain will go and make sure I self-sabotage. So that's something we'll discuss next time. But really, these are the 5 things I really want you guys to start doing this week, because come what next week, we want to hear stories of, you won't believe what happened. I got out of nowhere a yes. I got out of nowhere some random call. Also be open, like the more you solidify your new identity who's willing to play in magic, you're going to be less rigid, because quantum is energy, and the less we become more fluid in who we are. You get a thought to go to the park in the middle of the day, get up and go. Don't be so rigid and no, 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 I don't go, this is not the time. That's your impulse, because you don't know when you go to the park what idea comes, or who you bump into, or what like you have no idea what's going to happen. That's the quantum mind taking you, so you got to listen to the impulse. So what I'm saying is, the more you're fluid and the less rigid you are in your identity, this is all identity transformation work. Like literally, if you play with the identity and you become more fluid, you will start seeing things will come out of nowhere. And that's what we want to celebrate, right? Our next call. Okay, I'm going to look at your questions and comments. And if you guys want to jump on, there's a Q&A. If anyone wants to ask me any live questions, I'm happy to do that. Ashley says, no permission needed. Katie playing right now, like celebrating with $500 dinner, etc. Beautiful. I'm going for it. No permission needed. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Okay, so there are 5 steps. Daily talk. Number 2, meditate. Number 3, give thanks. Number 4, nighttime reprogramming. Number 5, listen to nudges, intuition, and impulses, right? So there are 5. Basically, I'm going to keep it real simple. If you want to quantum leap, forget the word quantum leap. You literally want to just wake up and have a new reality and have your manifestation. All you got to do is literally be in the new energy, the energy of the thing. When you wake up and you have the money, you have the man, you have the car, you have the home, what is that you're going to say to yourself? If you don't understand any of the other work, which you're very capable of, what is the one thing? Like I literally found myself saying all the time, I can do anything. From the version who used to feel so sorry for herself, when I started getting breadcrumbs, I started believing I can do anything. That's all you need to say to yourself. So, okay. Brittany's saying number 5 is listen to your impulses, intuition, and nudges. Every morning when you wake up and you meditate, Brittany, or even at night, or when you start reprogramming, what's going to happen is new ideas, new suggestions, new impulses, new intuitions are going to come, which you have to listen. That's the voice of your higher self, voice of your higher self, voice of your quantum mind saying, go do this thing. And literally, if you do this, if you get out of nowhere, go and fly somewhere and you only have $500, again, disclaimer, use your own discernment, but I would do that. I would not sit here waiting that I will run out of money, because I have seen my life change, and I would go like, no, this is my every intuition is taking me to a higher timeline. That's what my autopilot is now. So you gotta listen to the nudges.